Hey guys, Jadu YGO, and who am I here with?
Manan. I got top 16 at YCS Orlando,
Okay, and what were you playing, good sir?
playing Mitsurugi Ryzeal.
All right. How was your experience with the deck?
Amazing. People say your mileage may vary, the deck bricks. I think our list was built really well. It's doing really well. I'll go into my shout outs to lineup. So, number one, my wife, love her, supports me with everything I do. Brad. So, Brad and Ben. Ben's currently in finals, playing a very similar list. Labbed his deck out, theoried it. They were nice enough to include me in the process. So I'm very happy that they were in my group. And then my boys from the beginning, Peter, Joel, Will, Ethan, they were here. They all played well. They all did really well. Brad got 65th. Another guy got 69th. So I think the list performed really well. So, happy to go into the profile.
All right, let's get into it.
Yeah. So Mitsurugi Ryzeal, right? We'll just go engine by engine. Tokens for the win. So, X is your premium starter. You play 6X. Obviously, you'd play more if you could. It's full combo. You need 2 hand traps to stop it. So, very, very good. Ice, sword, node, and cross. You can think of node and cross as like necessary evils. This is your insulation through hand traps if duo resolves. Usually, Bestial and Nib is what you want to try to save around. Node is, again, an extender. Works if you open with X, otherwise it's a brick. Sword, your worst normal summon, you don't want to open it, but you want to search it with both of these. Ice, great 1-card starter, also an excellent extender. You just need a little bit more names to kind of grind, right? So that's Ryzeal in a nutshell. Every time you open X going second, you feel like you can start cracking pretty efficiently. And then the reason you play the deck and the reason you can OTK and win games in a very efficient fashion is the Mitsurugi engine. So what do we have here? We have 2 Ame and a Futsu. This is your core ritual sort of set. People playing with 1 and 1 works. I found it to be a little limiting on resources, so I play 2 and 1. You want to resolve and get Ame on field. You want to get him in rotation. You want to get access to prayers. These 2 cards, that is your grind game. That's how you win the game. That's how you hand loop them, clear their board, and go for game. Saji's is a quote unquote not a 1-card starter, but a key component into accessing your 6 broken spells. We'll go into those in a second. And then Kusanagi is the brick. But the minute you play, it becomes the best card because it gets you access to all these things. And in grindy games, and especially when you're siding out cards, it's really important to understand what you have left in deck because that helps you figure out how many times you can resolve these cards, right? And Kusanagi is kind of a way for you to avoid looping cards from your deck because you can loop your graveyard. So quickly going into the spells, prayers is insane. You can use it in draw phase, player on droll. You can use it to dodge imperm. You can use it to search any of these cards which start your combo. And ritual, of course, call it a discount branded fusion, call it a broken branded fusion. It's amazing. Send from deck, special from hand, special from deck, clear boards. You need to play it at 3. We're not on Nadir, so there's not really a consideration to play fewer. You can side it out. Obviously, Wave Hiking cooks both of these cards. So, you want to play a fewer number going second and maybe hope to draw into X or a breaker. So that's the Mitsurugi engine. And now we're going to go into the hand traps. We did not do board breakers. We did not do Nadir. It felt like you needed to have hand traps to slow your opponent down. I thought there would be a lot of really strong decks in this format. The Rogue advantage, Mermail is crazy, Malice is crazy. I played 7 Malice in Swiss, so really having to beat that was very challenging, especially when you go first. When you go second. Okay, so what are the hand traps? Ash doesn't really need an explanation. Beats Charmies, great. Imperm, Breaker, great. Talents and Call By. Could have played 3 Talents. I felt like Call By offered a lot of utility. Call it a Saki 1-of, but you have to play it for it to be a Saki 1-of, so we played it. Fua, that's how you beat the combo decks. That's how you find a way to draw into your engine. You need to draw 2 playable cards usually to play through boards, to play properly into hand traps. Fua helps you get there, helps slow them down. Nib is kind of a controversial card because you can't use your X combos, but if you're resolving Nib and clearing their board, you're probably finding a way to break their board. And then we also play Lizardos. Shout out to Lizardos as a way to out the body, get a draw, play with X. And then Droll, right? So a lot of players played Veiler, some might have played Ogre, some played Bestials in the main. I felt that I had to respect Malice and respect the Mirror, but you can't respect them both. and I felt like I was already addressing Malice with the other hand traps, so this was kind of my sort of check on the mirror. I didn't think people would be on Nadir. If they were, this hurts them even more. Fuwa and Droll, if the only time that they both resolve and give you value is against the Nadir build, because you Fuwa them, so they don't go into their extra deck. Then when they activate Nadir and they go Garura Chainlink 1, you chain Droll, cooked, right? So it never came up because no one was on Nadir, but you know, it's nice to have both optionality. So I thought these hand traps were great. Droll was premium. Fuwa, obviously, every time you drew it, you felt great. And Ash and Imperm, you know, if you know how to use them, like in Fiendsmith Ryzeal, if you open Ash Imperm, I don't think it makes sense to just burn these. I think if you open this with an X, you know, I think I put it somewhere else, but yeah, if you open it with an X checks Wave Hiking, this checks Duo Drive, and then this checks Paradise, right? You've done this without playing in the towns. And I think that's really important to sequence your hand traps correctly. So that's the hand traps, that's the deck, 42. Go into the extra. So as mentioned, Haggard, it's a great way to out your Nib body. It's also a great way to reduce the Nib token stats, which you usually want to summon an attack if you're going second. Reduce the stats, be able to attack over it later. Most people are going to hand trap your Ritual Engine, so you have to play Ryzeal if they do that. And Ryzeal can't really OTK that well. You know, we don't have that much Ryzeal Engine, but if you reduce the Nib, you can attack over it, set up Dweller, go from there. Duo, dead. I think people were surprised to see we're on 2 Duo. When we're going first, we're always sending Duo with X. The theory behind it is, if you send Detonator, it can get Bestialed. If you send anything else, and your first play you want it to be Duo Drive, you won't be able to have a negate on it after you search, right? So for us, it felt like the safest option. So we played 2 Duo, it came up. Oh, I don't think I showed it. Sorry, we're also on 1 Prosp. That's the 42nd card. Prosp is, you know, you can banish one of these for Prosp. That was silly. Eclipse, right? Pure Ryzeal plays amazingly with it. We play amazingly with it. You loop this card over and over again. In grind states, you might loop this, you might loop this, right? It's all about understanding how to manage your graveyard resources with this card. And it's super, super easy. The 1 card combo goes through it. 2 card combos go through it. Have to play 2. Daguerreo's, if you open Ice, it's a 1 card combo with Daguerreo's. I used it a couple times to draw into hand traps when I was playing Malice. It's not really a great, you know, like Seize Monster. You can summon Detonator's fine. A lot of them are Metal Tronus. They'll have Imperm. They'll Nib you. So Daguerreo's worked out for me. They'll Shifter you. Exciton, again, board wipe, good for Malice. You have to trade off between not doing damage and clearing their board. Oftentimes Det's just better, but good to have the utility. Aggregator, I don't think I have to explain this one. X sends Aggregator, Chainlink 1, Chainlink 2. Typhon, hard to theory this card. It's really good in simplified game states, which people don't really theory. You just have to have it and play with it to know how useful it is. Chaos Angel. So Chaos Angel, we sided into Bestials, just 2, as a way to deal with Fiendsmith Ryzeal, the mirror match. Came up a couple times. I think it's a cute tech. If it comes up, it could win you the game. And then Tornado Dragon. So the theory behind Tornado Dragon is sometimes their end board, or if you hand trap them correctly, it's not that strong, but they'll have a couple of nagging sets. And you don't want to bait Imperm into you don't want to use Duo to bait an Imperm. That's crazy, right? You're nagging on that massively. And if you have a really strong going first hand or a really strong engine hand and you can afford to give 2 bodies up, Tornado Dragon is like a proactive detonator. Right? Detonator's always on in response, which is fine, but Tornado Dragon guarantees you out that 1 back row. If it's a bluff, it's a great way to outcross. And then you go from there, right? So a lot of times I was, making this as my first 6 Cs if I had a really, really playable hand, and then checking for Nib with normal ice, and then making my ritual plays after. So I thought Tornado Dragon was amazing. When the idea was suggested to me, I was pretty resistant to it, but in testing and in play, it had been amazing. So I wouldn't cut it. So that's the extra deck, 15 as usual. Side deck, Perulia. You want to respect the mirror. You want to respect rogue decks that play Kashtira. You want to respect Ryzeal, right? You want to find a way to draw cards. You draw 2-3 engine cards. You draw a ritual spell and ritual. Outside of Malice of impulsing it, you're probably going to go pretty far with that hand. The deck I was most afraid of, and one of my favorite decks, Malice. I knew I'd be playing a whole bunch. I didn't think I'd play as many as I did. You just have to have these cards to beat them. Sometimes, Nib gets there. Sometimes an Impermon, the normal summon gets you there. but you kind of need these cards as your silver bullets, right? And Meowth can be used in like other rogue matchups, Memento. Maybe if your side patterns require it, you can put it in versus Fiendsmith decks. I thought these were great. I talked about these already. Bystials, great for decks, light and dark decks. Great for White Forest if you played it. Fiendsmith Ryzeal, obviously, you open Bystial Mag, you can hit the Engraver, because then Jerusalem can hit the Requiem. You open Jerusalem, you hit the Requiem. Great way to sort of deal with that end board. And then played the Trap. I believe you'll probably see it in his profile later. Ben, he mained it. A lot of our other friends mained it. I didn't think it was worth maining. If you're fully resolving Ryzeal combo and Mitsurugi combo, like it feels win more. I know the Graveyard Effect's amazing, great way to OTK going second. I just felt like this was a card I needed as a sort of guarantee when I went first. I didn't feel like I needed it, for the most of my games. Fortunately, that never came up. And then it was, what is our going first option? I went for Strike. The day before, actually the morning of submission, these were 2 Thrusts and a Harpies, which was a borrowed idea from our Nadir list. And Thrust in the Nadir deck is really good because you have many, many powerful targets, albeit everything was just the draw. And we found Harpies to be very strong in testing versus Malice, Fiendsmith Ryzeal, everyone's hitting a couple cards, right? You clear the board on the backside, Amino will clear the sort of the front row, and now you have a way to sort of go for game. But what we found was Thrust is really getting you like this, and where is it? And this, right? None of these reliably get you to the Ritual Engine. And the Ritual Engine is what you want. You want to access that engine. You want to use Ryzeal to bait and then access Ritual Engine. Nadir did that. So Thrust really wasn't offering the utility that, it did in other lists. So we said, you know what? Let's cut it. Let's put in the Strike. Great 1-for-1s. Really can't outplay it. If they have Strike, they're going to strike you. You have to find a new line. So for me, this was excellent. The list ran great. Played 7 Malice. I played a whole bunch of Fiendsmith. Ryzeal. I played a Melodious round 4. That was fun. And overall, I thought the deck ran great. I bricked a few games, but never enough to lose the match. Too many times. And then you get variance in a couple games, but that's the fun of it. So otherwise, great list, and hope to see you guys again.
Will we be seeing you at the next event?
I will be going to Vegas most likely. We're still sorting stuff out, logistics and team, but yeah, hopefully I do well there. Best part about topping a YCS is you don't got to go to regionals. So that was awesome.
Well, congratulations to you, sir, and I look forward to seeing you at the next event.
Thanks, man. Take care.